lost a load of weight?
2 stone in the last 2 months.
Wow. What have you been doing? What happened?
I went on a gap year. I didn't know. I went on a gap year to Indochina. They've just got...
Jeremy Charles Robert Clarkson, born the 11th of April 1960, is an English broadcaster, journalist, game show host and writer who specializes in motoring. He is best known for the motoring programs Top Gear and the Grand Tour alongside Richard Hammond and James May. He also currently writes weekly columns for the Sunday Times and The Sun. Since 2018, Clarkson has hosted the ITV game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? From a career as a local journalist in Northern England, Clarkson rose to public prominence as a presenter of the original format of Top Gear in 1988. Since the mid-1990s, he has become a recognized public personality, regularly appearing on British television, presenting his own shows for BBC and appearing as a guest on other shows. As well as motoring, Clarkson has produced programs and books on subjects such as history and engineering. In 1998, he hosted the first series of Robot Wars, and from 1998 to 2000 he also hosted his own talk show, Clarkson. The 54-year-old has made a career from being publicly controversial. The Top Gear host has managed to offend Argentines, Germans, Mexicans, Romanians and a host of others. Known for a fashion-proof love of tight denim, he's a friend of Prime Minister David Cameron and writes columns for 2 national newspapers. Born Jeremy Charles Robert Clarkson in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, to art teacher Shirley and travelling salesman Eddie. Clarkson first worked for the BBC aged 12, playing the role of Atkinson in the radio adaptation of the Jennings novels, Anthony Buckeridge's Tales of Life at the fictional Linbury Court Preparatory School. The role did not last long. Jeremy lost his role because he hit puberty and his voice had broken. While the family home may have been a 4-bedroom farmhouse in the idyllic village of Burgwallis, his parents were hardly wealthy and at times struggled to make a living. Story has it that Shirley and Edward had put Jeremy's name down for a number of public schools with apparently little idea of how to pay the fees. Shortly before he was to begin school, his parents made 2 Paddington Bear toys for their children. They were so popular that they began selling them. However, they were soon served with a cease and desist notice from the legal team of Paddington Bear's creator Michael Bond. Edward Clarkson went to London to meet with Bond's lawyer. He ended up meeting Bond in the elevator on the way to the meeting and the two hit it off. Bond awarded the Clarksons the worldwide licensing rights to Paddington Bear. The income from this paid for Jeremy's schooling. He is most widely known as the host of the internationally acclaimed sports car show Top Gear. However, his first job was as a salesman for his parents' Paddington Bears business. He went on to work as a journalist for a number of newspapers including the Rotherham Advertiser, Rochdale Observer, Wolverhampton Express and Star, and Shropshire Star. It was at the Shropshire Star where he got his first opportunity to write about cars. He started out writing about Peugeots and Fiats before working his way up to Range Rovers and Ford Grenadas. After 7 years, he was finally allowed to drive an Aston Martin Lagonda. After 10 years, he got the chance to drive his first Lamborghini. Clarkson was suspended by the BBC from Top Gear in March 2015 following a fight with one of the show's producers. Clarkson was angry that he had been offered soup and a cold meat platter while filming on location in Hawes, North Yorkshire. The chef had gone home and what Clarkson was offered was all that was available. The BBC did not air the next episode of Top Gear or the final 2 episodes of the season after the incident in which Clarkson punched producer Asheen Timon so hard that he required treatment at the hospital. Clarkson's contract with the BBC expired at the end of March, and a previously proposed 3-year renewal was withdrawn. In 1989, Clarkson married Alex Hall. She left him for one of his friends 6 months later. In May 1993, he married his manager, Frances Kane. They had 3 children. Kane filed for divorce in April 2014. In September 2010, Clarkson was granted a privacy injunction against his first wife to prevent her from publishing claims that their sexual relationship continued after he married Kane. As of February 2023, Jeremy Clarkson's net worth is estimated to be $70 million. His car collection spans over 20 cars, most of which have been sold now. Jeremy Clarkson and Ferrari are two things that won't see eye to eye. When it comes to Italian cars, Jeremy always preferred Lamborghini over the prancing horse, but to everyone's surprise, he once owned a Ferrari F355 finished in Ferrari red. The car was his first big-ticket purchase at that time, but in today's money, you can get one for an average price of $86,322. That said, Jezza soon regretted his purchase of the F355 GTS, as the car would attract a lot of attention from people as well as cops. This eventually forced him to sell the car. Jeremy Clarkson is a true petrolhead, but he also has class, which brings us to his next car, the Mercedes-Benz 600 Grosser Pullman. Dubbed the precursor of the modern-day Mercedes Maybach, the 600 Grosser was a luxury on wheels. Although the exact price he paid for the car is not known, in today's market, a good example is priced at around $94,500. The Mercedes-Benz 600 Grosser limousine owned by Jeremy Clarkson is powered by a naturally aspirated, 6.3-liter V8 engine. Jeremy Clarkson has a certain distaste for Porsches, and when Hammond opted for a Porsche 911 Carrera, Clarkson picked the BMW M3 CSL, the other best lightweight sports car. Not only that, Jezza was so impressed with the BMW that he compared it to the Isle of Man. Clarkson ended up selling it for around $4,000, which he deeply regrets because the estimated value of the BMW M3 CSL is around $130,000 these days. The Mercedes-Benz CLK 63 AMG Black Series was brought by Jeremy in 2007 for a base price of $135,000. The car was perfect for Jezza's liking, but it soon started giving him trouble. The final nail in the coffin was when the battery in the car died and it refused to start. Thus, he sold the car, and reports say that he was able to strike a good deal without losing much in depreciation. The Bentley Continental GT seen above was purchased by the team of the Grand Tour for filming an episode in Madagascar. After the filming was done, Jeremy Clarkson, impressed by the Bentley, kept it and has been seen driving it around his farm. That said, the exact price of the modified Continental GT is not known, but a new one starts at $202,500. The Aston Martin Virage is a rather uncommon name in the British luxury sports car makers' portfolio. The Virage wasn't able to impress many car buyers, but Jeremy Clarkson was impressed by it and got one for himself. When new, the Virage had a starting price of $207,865, and it is estimated Jezza paid over $250,000 to get his hands on one. The Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Roadster was purchased by Jeremy Clarkson in 2011. Soon he was spotted enjoying the topless beauty while driving in a convertible with the top open. That said, back in 2011, the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Roadster had a base price of $213,000. Those who have watched BBC's Top Gear know that Jeremy Clarkson is a huge Lamborghini fan. Although he had the luxury of driving several Lamborghinis on the show, he picked a Gallardo LP 560 Spider for himself. The cost of his top-tier less raging bull is unknown, but a new Gallardo Spider starts at $225,400. The McLaren 675 LT, with a base price of $349,500, is the most expensive and also the newest car in Jeremy Clarkson's collection. The McLaren was purchased by Jezza after he signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Amazon Prime for the show The Grand Tour. The 2005 Ford GT is the most expensive car that was once part of Jeremy Clarkson's car collection, with an estimated value of $366,947. The Ford GT is one of the many cars that Clarkson bought in a jiffy and sold later on. Considering the show's reach, Clarkson's Top Gear salary was a surprisingly modest $4 million per year. But don't feel too bad for Jeremy. In addition to his base salary, Clarkson owned 30% of the rights to Top Gear. That means he gets a cut of profits from all licensing deals, DVD sales, syndication, and merchandise. On top of his base salary, Clarkson typically earns an additional $7.05 to $13 million per year in dividends and bonuses from the show. In 2013, the BBC, which already owned 50% of the show, bought out all outstanding stakes to take full control of the Top Gear empire. This transaction netted Clarkson roughly $21 million. In 2012, Clarkson bought a 5-bedroom cottage on 312 acres in the Cotswolds for $5.5 million. In 2018, he blew it up on the Grand Tour. After the rubble was cleared, Clarkson had plans to build a 6-bedroom, 3-story mansion.